All right, my friends, good evening. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live with me, Mike Avery, here in my home office, my home studio, once again, at the end of a midweek hump day. How are you? Cliff, good evening. Hello, Craig. Michelle, Craig's better half. How are you tonight, my friends? Hello, Jeff, David, Jim. There, that takes care of that. Don, hey, good evening. How are you? Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger there. But then I get rid of my comments. I'm going to have to start. Here we go. Good evening, Jim. Tommy, good evening. How are you? Thank you, Dan. Randy. Jerry checking in from Algonac. Hooked Up Sport Fishing says, good evening, Mike. Good evening, right back at you. Hooked Up Sport Fishing. Might get to the point here where before too long, I'm going to have to wear cheaters on these things. I can only make my screen so big, and I got a great big, huge screen in front of me, too. Dan, good evening. Dave, how are you? Bob, thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. You know, this is actually the last Wednesday Night Live for the month of April. Where did April go? I mean, next week is May. It just, time just continues to fly. It just blows me away how much it's flying by. Next Wednesday is May 1st. Absolutely crazy. And hasn't the weather been a little bit crazy too? Been a little bit chilly, supposed to freeze tonight. Freeze mornings here in my neck of the woods. Hey, Mike, good evening. How are you, buddy? Corey, how are you? Thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Dave says May is Morel month. Absolutely. Oh, let me check on something. Let me see if I can do something here. Speaking of morels, I'm going to try, and I should have done this before, and I apply. Might be more hassle than it's worth. There we go. Let me see. No, I don't think I can. Possibly. Is that the one? Let me see if I can share that. I'm just curious if I can do that. Share screen. Oh, I can, I think. Yes, I can. Okay. Speaking of morels here, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'll go here anyway. This week's recipe from Chef Dixie Dave Miner is a turkey recipe with morels. And as he's telling me this, I'm checking through my old my YouTube channel for some old videos, and I come across the wild turkey with strawberries and morels. So we actually have a video version of the recipe that Dave is going to do on the show this week. So that's something new. I will add that to the page. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. It was a good hunt. Hooked Up says very windy on the river. Ross, skinny Ross, how you doing, buddy? Jim, always nice to have you along with us. Cliff says he saw a store in Ohio selling a morel picking bag for $27.99. Wow. Speaking of, hey, Uncle Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Speaking of my turkey hunt, you know what this is? Pretty obvious what this is, isn't it? This is the beard to my turkey that I shot on Saturday. It's kind of a thin beard, but it's a good sized beard. Now you compare it to the beard on the bird I shot last year. There's a paintbrush. There's a beard. Pretty darn happy though. Michael, thank you. Appreciate that. Aditya. How are you doing, buddy? Always nice to have you along with us, and I look forward to seeing you guys next weekend and the weekend after as well. John said he got a few mushrooms in the city. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Close shave on that beard. How was it a close shave on the beard? No. See, there's my beard. It's a lot alike. See, I look like a guy from the 60s if this was actually my beard right here. Not my ponytail. Not my ponytail. Anyway, it was a good hunt. It was a quick hunt. I mean, I got it done opening day. Shelby says hi to and Bean and Georgie. There's a little bit of a private story there that's not really so private anymore, but it's going to be anyway. Aditya, Shelby, Bean, and Georgie, how are you this evening? Johnny Bowler did excellent on the show this morning. Excellent. And the only reason I don't say anything more, Shelb, is I haven't talked to you about saying anything. So I won't until we get a chance to talk. Jason says, time to hit the skinny water now that your turkey tag is filled. I agree. But Mother Nature's going to have to cooperate. It's going to have to get warmer. The wind's going to stop. I have to stop blowing. And I need to get my boat. My Angler Quest is still in storage. So I've got a request into the folks at Linwood Beach to get her out and get her ready to rock. Jeff, good evening. Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer, who was on on the show this week. In fact, he was the first guest of the show this week. I'll tell you what he was talking about here in a few minutes. Scott Keatsman, Linwood Taxidermy says, congrats on your opening day bird. Way to go. Scott, I was just saying, in fact, here's the beard from that bird right there. Danny, good evening. Danny, look what I got here, Danny. Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, my favorite Yeti. I hate Yetis, but I love this mug. Okay, let's talk about a few things here. The weather has been terrible, right? I mean, it was so cold and so snowy and so windy last Saturday for the opener that I felt like I was deer hunting in mid-November. Snow was coming down sideways. It snowed for a couple of hours. It didn't stick, but it was nasty, miserable. I didn't see anything that morning. I was hunting on my buddy Doug's farm. Doug, thank you very much, buddy, for letting me hunt there. Didn't see anything there. So I got a hold of another buddy, Scott. I don't have any properties to hunt. I don't have any land. I don't own any land. But I'm blessed to have friends who have property who are very, very generous with their with them allowing me access to hunt their property. So I jumped over to Scott's farm, his property. Got there about 2:15, and by 3:00, I had a bird on the ground. In fact, I share video of that. I've got it on Facebook, YouTube. I had it on Instagram. I've got it on TikTok even. Ross says, thanks for the referral, Scott. He and his nephew booked with me in August. Excellent. Johnny says, it's loud in Andy's this evening. Well, that's all right. Have fun. Thank you, Eric. Good evening, Brad. Jeff says he's not a turkey hunter, but he saw one that was almost tripping on his beard. That's a big beard. That's a big beard. Absolutely, Dave. One of the topics of discussion tonight, trout season opens statewide across the state this Saturday. Walleye season opens on the inland waters of the lower peninsula. The UP doesn't open until March 15th, I think it is. I don't trout fish anymore, but it used to be when I was a kid. It used to be a huge weekend. We didn't have walleye. The opening day of the trout season was it. I would spend the 2 weeks leading up to the trout season opener, going across the railroad tracks to the football field, taking a flashlight, walking along with that flashlight. And some of you don't even know what this is. Walking along with that flashlight just above the ground, looking for night crawlers. And for a kid that age, what was I, 8, 9, 10 years old? That was an adventure. Just getting the bait to go fishing was an adventure because you'd grab those things and they'd fight back, and sometimes you'd break them in half, and it was something. And then when the trout season came around, Cedar Creek, I call it Crick, was maybe 6 feet wide at the widest, and to drift night crawlers down into those holes, I caught more chubs than I did trout, but it was really something else. It was an adventure. It was at that time in my life when I was just a kid, fishing for brook trout on Cedar Creek in Cedar Creek was as big of an adventure as going to Africa is for me these days. Hey, Ricky, how are you? Jeff says, congrats to all the successful turkey hunters. Where do you, there we go. Boom. Evening, Jerry. How are you? I will check that out, Chris. Why can I? Big trout fishing camp this weekend, right, Nick Grillo? I didn't know Nick was a trout fisherman. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. The good old days. Happy to help, Ross. Yeah, small trout's a giant trophy. And those brook trout I used to catch when I was a kid, back then the size limit was 7 inches. I think it still is. That's not a very big fish. If we got a brookie that was well, and when I was a kid, I mean, honestly, if it was like over 6 3/4, it was going home with me. If it was almost 7, it was going home with me. If if I caught a brook trout 8 inches long, it was a monster. I caught one 9 inches one and thought 9 inches once and thought I caught a world record. Eric, he still gets crawlers at night with a flashlight. It's a blast and more exciting when you catch fish on bait that you caught. Yes. Good memories. Hey, Mike. Jason says, let me see if I can make this screen bigger. Honestly, my eyes are there we go. That's a lot better. Picking crawlers. I did that when I was a kid and would sell them for $3 a dozen. I bet they're not $3 a dozen anymore, are they? Oh, Nick says he will be trout fishing this weekend with his buddy Jake Trombley, hoping to catch his first true river brown. Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand. This guy is like the consummate hardcore outdoorsman. He's a pike fisherman. He's a bass fisherman. He's a sucker fisherman. He's a walleye fisherman. He's a burbot fisherman. He's a salmon fisherman. And he's a trout fisherman. Plus, he's a hardcore hunter. He's a deer hunter, a bear hunter, and a turkey hunter. MichiganBrand.net, MichiganBrand.net. By the way, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, Nick. Michigan Brand is getting ready to open or unveil a big, wonderful expansion of their Frankenmuth facility. So congrats on that, Nick. And I'll tell you what, those Mike Avery Hunter sticks we had in the studio this morning were the best ever. They were outstanding. Jeff said they would waited for a warm spring thunderstorm. Man, the crawlers would pop out, grab the mag light, and fill up a butter tub. Eric says, Chris Craner, nice triple bearded Tom. Kevin, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, creating memories for a lifetime. There's no doubt about it. Good luck, Nick. Have fun this weekend. Eric says, my dad used to say, if you want to go fish, go out and get bait. I'm not buying bait. Scott Keith's going to be playing bumper boats on the Tib this weekend, probably with rain gear on. Yeah, it's going to be a crowd, and you're probably going to need your rain gear. Absolutely. What is in the overpriced Yeti right now? Yeah, good point. Okay, let me talk about some other things. We talked about the weather. It's going to change. If you look at the forecast, we get through tonight. It was going to freeze tonight. And then it's going to change and it's going to get nice. And I think it's going to be nice. That's why I want to get the Angler Quest out of storage. Angler Quest out of storage. Trout season opens this weekend. Walleye season in the lower. I'll talk about my hunt where I took the bird that was carrying this beard right here. Wednesday of next week, 1 week from right now, May 1st, the application period for Michigan Bear and hey, Shelb, I'm going to send you a text right now. Okay, let me know, kiddo. Um, the application period for Michigan Bear and elk tags goes opens up. I will be applying for a Michigan Bear tag. I will be getting the third season with Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer, in the Seney District. I know I will. I will apply for a Michigan elk tag. I will not get a Michigan elk tag, but you know what? You will not get a Michigan elk tag either, but somebody will. Do you feel like Mother Nature? Okay. Do you feel like Mother Nature is about, other than this cold weather right now, do you feel like we're about a week ahead? I first noticed this when I was doing some turkey scouting and I was looking off into the woods and I thought, I can't see through these woods to the extent that I normally can at the turkey opener. So I think with that warm up, things started to flesh out a little bit earlier. The trees did. But also, that combined with the fact that we didn't have a hard winter and didn't kill a lot of things off, the allergies, the springtime allergies are just absolutely a zoo. Okay, let me go back to something here. I'm gonna make a little bit of an announcement here. Let me find the proper comment so I can bring it back up. I'm going to scroll up through these. There's a certain comment that I'm looking for that I will reference here. A lot of comments tonight. Man, you got to be getting. Oh, I went myself going by. Bear with me. It's worth waiting for. Trust me on this. I'm there. It is. Oh, good evening from Aditya. Now he's going to come back and say something more. Okay, this comment right here from Aditya. Aditya is my son-in-law. He married my daughter, Shelby, last Labor Day weekend. He's a great guy. Love him dearly. Georgie is their dog, their husky. Georgie has a personality that is almost human-like. And you see the comment right there about referencing Bean? Bean is baby Bean. My daughter, Shelby, and Aditya are pregnant. They're going to have a baby. And they started calling the baby Bean because he was just the little size of a bean. So now, in my mind, he will always be baby Bean. He'll be Bean. Michelle says, congrats. Good evening, Jim. How are you? So that's the big announcement. Emil, hey, Emil, how are you? Emil Rousseau of the Forward Corporation says, congrats. Jeff says, wow, congrats. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Martin says, congrats. We're looking forward to. Mike says, that's so great. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I tell you what, it's interesting to go through the process of watching your baby get ready to have a baby. Thank you for the congratulations. We appreciate it, Shelby. Uh, okay. And Bean is a boy. Bean is a boy. Not going to be a boy. Bean is a boy. Baby Bean is a boy. Tommy says, Bean. Congrats. A lot of congrats here. Thank you. I appreciate that too. Very much. In fact, everybody's saying, Emil. I know. Isn't it great? Future grandkid. This will be my 5th grandkid and my 4th grandson. Flying squirrel. How cool is that? Jerry's 9 times a grandpa. No. You guys are making fun of this Bean name. If I'd have known you were going to do that, I never would have brought it up. Never would have brought it up. Hey, Johnny, how are you doing, buddy? Live from Linwood tonight. I think the nickname Baby Bean or bean is absolutely adorable. So I would ask you, don't make any more smart comments about it. Even if you think that you're being cute, I'm taking a little offense at it. So let's drop that whole line here. Okay. Big Tom, 8 yards in Commerce. Unfortunately, you can't hunt in your backyard. I hear that. That's why we can't shoot geese in the backyard. Uncle Johnny says he's so excited for Shelby and Aditya. And Georgie, right? And Georgie. Oh, what else? I can't wait to see Georgie with the baby. Squishy face. I get it, Martin. I have all of my grandkids have nicknames. I can't tell you what they are because some of them are kind of crass, but every one of my grandkids has a nickname. And Bean's going to be called Bean for a while too. Probably the rest of his life, in my mind. Johnny says, yep, and Georgie. Okay, can we talk about the golf outing here a little bit? Thank you, Patrick. If you go to MU, I'm going to pull it up. Okay, if you go to this website right here, mucc.org/golf, mucc.org/golf. This is where you can sign up to play in the first annual Mike Avery Outdoors charity golf outing. You can also sign up to sponsor the event, mucc.org/golf. It is Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. It's a fundraiser for MUCC's youth camp. I am really looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a really big event. So I would encourage you to get involved. Feel free to sponsor if you want. The money's going to a good cause. Mike says his team is signed up. I know we've got some of them signed up already. That's outstanding. Thank you. Bo is friends with Trent, I think, Martin. I think Trent. mucc.org/golf. That's coming up. It could not be more excited. The chess match with the geese in the backyard continues. Now, though, the geese have goslings. And we'll see how that affects things. I don't want to say the coyote decoys are keeping them out of the yards completely, but I'm going to have to put the fence up eventually. Emil says there are many sponsor opportunities for all budget levels. Yes, there are. I mean, some of them are like like for $150. For $150, you can get involved in doing a sponsorship of the event. And again, all that money, all the proceeds go to MUCC's youth camp. Captain Doug Ward, Express Charters, is on the Detroit River. How, boy, man, it had to be nasty out there with the wind the way it is. Look who's on with us right now. Chris Durson of Rapid River Knife Works. You see this knife right here? This exact knife? This knife is my Rapid River knife. I used this knife to cut this beard off from my turkey. This knife cut this beard off my bird. I also used this knife to process the bird. There was something exceptionally rewarding about using a Michigan-made tool to process a Michigan bird. It was very cool. So thank you, Chris, for that. I appreciate it so very much. Brent, do we need volunteers? I do not believe we need volunteers. We're looking for golfers and sponsors. I think we're all set there, but I could be wrong. But now that I know you have reached out, I'll keep you in mind. Bruce, good evening. How are you? Doug says 6 straight days of wind. Tomorrow it slows down. Love our rapid river knives. Congrats on the bird. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that. Captain Doug Ward, one of the good guys out there. Can I tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week? Even if you say no, I'm going to do it anyway. Johnny Bowler, the bear whisperer, is my first guest this week. Johnny is well known as a Michigan bear hunting guide, but our topic of discussion is trout fishing because Johnny also guides on the Fox River. Do you know the significance of the Fox River in Michigan's UP near Seney? It's called the Big Two-Hearted River by Ernest Hemingway in his writing. Nick Adams, the pseudo-personality of Hemingway, fishes the Big Two-Hearted, which is actually the Fox River. Johnny Bowler has been fishing trout on the Fox River for more than 30 years. How cool is that? So we talk about that, how Johnny targets those fish, also a little bit about applying for a bear tag as well. Then Jay, and I have to apologize, Jay's last name is Wojderski. I thought it was Wolderski. I was looking at it and I saw W-O-L. It's actually W-O-I. Jay Wojderski of Sturgeon for Tomorrow talks about their sturgeon guarding program up on the Black River. That's in full swing right now, and it's a very cool conversation. Also, good news for sturgeon population, sturgeon anglers. The powers that be in Washington, actually made a good decision, and they decided not to put sturgeon on the endangered species list. They're still a threatened species, but their numbers are coming back and they're not on the endangered species list. So how cool is that? In our third hour, we're talking trolling with the man himself, Mark Romanek of Fishing 411. Mark talks about trolling for walleye in the rivers in the springtime, especially the Detroit River. Most anglers down there will drift and jig. Well, Mark trolls. He talks about that, and also talks about the concept of the precision trolling app. And the this is driving me crazy. Got to bring it up. Precision trolling app, formerly known as the Troller's Bible when it was back in print, and how you can use that information to be more effective in your trolling passions. Very interesting conversation. I talked with Mark quite a while. This week's Ask Avery question deals with, it's from a guy named Jason Elliott. He sent me an email to Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. He says, Mike, basically the premise of the question is he wants to bow hunt for turkeys and he wants some advice. So I give him some advice saying flat up and straight up and flat out, I am not a turkey hunting expert or a bow hunting expert, but I have taken a few birds with a bow. So I talk about that, including this most recent bird right here. That's not the bird. That's the beard from the bird. And then in our third hour, Richard P. Smith, we're talking about a couple of things. Number one, he has some advice on how to apply for your Michigan bear tag to give you the best odds of getting a tag. And I'll tell you what, right now, those odds do not include applying for the first season in Newberry or Gladwin or Drummond Island or something like that. If you want to increase your odds of getting a tag, you go to the UP and you apply for the third season. The odds of success are less, but the odds of getting a tag, the odds of success in actually harvesting a bear are less, but the odds of getting a tag are better. We also talk about how the lack of winter had an impact on the UP deer herd. We talk about predation, black bear predation on deer fawns, and much more. And of course, then we wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire, Dixie Dave Miner. And I told you, I actually have video of Dave's there. I'll play it. Game wisdom from Chef Dixie Dave Miner. Recipe.
The
Oh, no, it
best
doesn't
thing
look
to
like it, but
do when
it'll
we
be
get
similar to
these
this. It
segments of
is a
meat out of all
video
these
piece
different
very
muscle
similar to
groups,
this,
you want to be
where
able
you
to
could actually
freeze this. You
watch
could
Dave
either
cook
vacuum seal it
the
or double
turkey
wrap it in a real
and
nice plastic
strawberry
wrap and then
recipe that he's
put it
talking
in
about on
one
the
of the
show. This
freezer
is something that I
zip
haven't
top
been able to do
bags.
before.
So what I want to
Yeah, this
do
is not it, but
is I'm going to take
something
that
I haven't been able to do
butterfly.
before, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, let's get back to some comments here. Martin says, Mark is a great guy. He's one of his Schwann's customers. We have some great outdoor conversations, I bet. Mark Romanek is a very, very interesting guy. Very interesting guy. Paul, good evening, Paul. Found a few morels today, cutting trees. Been super busy lately. Found a few morels today, cutting trees. I had Rob Miller last week on the show talking about advice on where to find morel mushrooms. Rob and his buddy doubled up on birds last weekend. And then also at the end of the radio show, I recorded this month's Primal podcast with Philip Culpepper of TV. Okay, speaking of Primal, you've still got one more week to get one of those Primal Wraith 270 see-through ground blinds from Jay's for less than 150 bucks. Sale ends at the end of the month. So next Tuesday when the doors close. All you have to do is go to Jay's in Clare or Gaylord, pick up a blind, walk up to the counter, the checkout counter, and tell them you want to use the Avery promo code. They'll know what it is, but it's Avery424, Avery424. If you use that promo code, you can get a Wraith blind for less than 150 bucks. If you can't make it to the store, you can go to the website, jsportinggoods.com. That's jsportinggoods.com. Use the same promo code, and the price of the blind will be the same. However, they will charge you 20 bucks to ship that blind, but it's anywhere in Michigan. And listen, if you got to drive down from the UP or up to the southern part of the state, that 20 bucks may well be worth it. So, J Sporting Goods, jsportinggoods.com, promo code Avery424 for a rate for 150 bucks, actually less than. Speaking of promo codes, MichiganBrand.net, MichiganBrand.net. Use the promo code Mike20, get 20% off your entire order. And if you want a Rapid River knife, you can't have this one because this one is mine. But if you want a Rapid River knife at a great price, go to the website rapidriverknifeworks.us, rapidriverknifeworks.us. Use the promo code Avery10 and get 10% off. Better yet, go to the store. A Rapid River shop on US 2 just east of Rapid. Walk in there, use the promo code there, you can get it 10% off too. How cool is that? I sent out some texts and emails earlier about the golf outing, and I'm getting some responses now from people who want to play and sponsor. That's outstanding. That's excellent. Hello, Kirk. Good evening. How are you? Mike says that's a steal for that blind. Mike, it is a great price for that blind. Absolutely. Paul says, "Who is your bow guy?" He took his crossbow and had it. My bow guy is no longer there. He has moved on, but I would say have Kevin Pritchard in the archery department at Clare take a look at it. Kevin is the manager of the archery department of Jay's there. And he will, if he can't look at it, he will put you in touch with the right person who will take care of it. And tell him, Paul, that I sent you there. I mean, they're going to take care of you anyway, but tell them that I sent you there and make sure things are done right, as they always are at Jay's. Oh, what else? Oh, all right. I wanted to talk a little bit now about my hunt. The in some ways, I couldn't be happier taking a bird on the opening day of the season. But in some ways, it was a little bit of a disappointment when I compare it to last year's hunt and last year's bird. Not because the bird itself was bigger, but the hunt itself was different. Last year, after missing a bird on opening morning, I had to hunt hard for 2.5 weeks to finally get a bird. But in that 2.5 weeks, I had many close encounters with strutting birds and with gobbling birds. I got the full gamut, the full turkey hunting experience. I mean, so many close encounters, so many shot opportunities that didn't quite work out, but I had a chance to see a lot of birds, to hear them gobble, and watch them strut, which is, I think it's just you, Doug. Tim's back from Bible study. Oh, taking a break. Oh, they did. They said everything was in really good shape and replaced one string. See, that's the thing, Paul, as you know about these new crossbows today, these new high tech, high performance, high power crossbows. Paul sits a little bit in and out. They are under so much stress and so much force that you have to have them looked at least every year, probably a couple times a year. Looks like we got a little bit of an audio problem going, but as long as you can still follow me, I'm going to keep going for another 8 or so minutes. Mike says, "No, the audio is not good." Uh, I can't knock the quality of my video down. Sometimes what I can do is when we're having a problem, I can knock the quality of my video down a little bit, and that'll give me more bandwidth. I can't knock it down any lower than what it is, or it's going to look like crapola. Instagram. I'm not live on Instagram. Instagram makes it so hard to go live to Instagram if you're going anywhere live other than to Instagram at the same time. Um, so every once in a while, in a blue moon, I will go live to Instagram, but I don't routinely go live to Instagram as part of my Wednesday night lives. Mike says the Rapid River promo code one more time, please, so I can write it down. It's Avery10. Avery10. You can use that promo in store for 10% off, or you can go to the website, rapidriverknifeworks.us, and use the promo code Avery10 there. High power level. Yes. I'll, I will. Doug, because you say that, I will do that. There. That takes it back to standard def. I have just jumped out of the high def realm, and that might give us more bandwidth. What is the model on your knife? Mine is the Uper. There's a smaller version of this used called the Uper Lite. It's just their folding pocket. But there's no other one in the world like this one. This one is mine. Got my name on it. Did that help the audio, by the way, my friends? I'm very curious about this. I'm reluctant to knock that video quality down, but if we're having problems with audio, it might be worth it. So I will use this for future reference. Right. So, yes, Mike says. Mike says he had a bad turkey season. Just got a good shot on the bird, went 20 yards, thought it was done, flew away, couldn't find it. Mike with a bow or with a gun? Okay, so it looks like, all right, it looks like then if I run into this problem in the future, because I can't tell on my end what the audio quality is like, just let me know that the audio is getting glitchy and I will knock down the bandwidth on the video quality. So let crossbow. I'm telling you, Mike, birds are hard to kill with a bow. They're very hard to kill with a bow. All right, so before I run out of time here, just comparing this season to last. In both seasons, I got a real nice bird. In both seasons, I took a nice bird with a crossbow. This year, I took the bird opening day. Last year, it took me 2.5 weeks. Both hunts were wonderful. They were great experiences, and I enjoyed them tremendously. And both hunts had their advantages. But I can't help but feel that in some ways, this year's hunt, I kind of missed out a little bit. I saw one bird, the bird I shot. Never saw a bird strut, never heard a bird gobble while I was hunting. And that's part of the experience, the strutting, the gobbling. So I'm not complaining, but I find it interesting that um, every hunt is unique and every hunt offers its own challenges and rewards. Speaking of challenges, look at Mike right here. He said he went in after hours looking for it and shredded his license. Interesting comment, Mike. Um, that comment says a lot about you. Mike hit a bird with his crossbow and didn't recover it. He couldn't find it. He tried, but he couldn't find it. So what did he do? He took his tag and he shredded it as if he had harvested the bird. Now he probably did kill the bird, but he didn't recover it. Mike, that is a stand-up thing to do. I'm not saying that people have to do that. I'm not telling other hunters that they should do that, but I'm just telling you that in this case, that what you did there, I think is a very impressive and very stand-up thing to do. Similar situation, talking about Romanek earlier. When Romanek was a pro staffer for the TV show, he went up into Ontario on a bear hunt with his bow, and he hit a bear and couldn't recover it. And he said he was done. Same thing. He tore up his license. He said, "Nope, that was my bear. That was my tag. I'm done." So that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. The thing about taking turkey with a bow is shot placement and broadheads. I still use the smaller FX4 fixed blade, but the big expandables are not a bad idea. And you need to put a real good shot on a bird. When I looked at the bird that I shot at 27 yards in slow motion, I could not have center punched him any better. It was probably one of the best shots I've ever made on a turkey. So that was really shot placement, shot placement, shot placement. Uh, and a and and the biggest, sharpest broadhead that you can feel comfortable. Oh, what else? I think we're just about out of time here. Okay, one more time, mucc.gov, mucc.org/golf. Love to have you join us on that. That will be Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club, with all proceeds going for MUCC Youth. The concept of Wednesday Night Live came about here. Oh, has that been going on that whole time? I didn't even know that was still out there. Yeah, I forgot that. Oh, no, okay. All right, my friends, I appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. I hope you have a great trout opener. I hope you have a great walleye opener. I hope your turkey hunting adventures go well. I would encourage you to join us for the Mike Avery Outdoors Charity Golf Outing. If you have pictures of your opening day or your turkey hunt, I'd love to see them. Send them to me, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Please don't send them to me in social media. Send me an email, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's the best way. I want to share them, but email them to me. My name is Mike Avery. My show is called Outdoor Magazine. This is Wednesday Night Live. Have a good night, my friends.